Okay, next is WPS, or Wi-Fi Protected Setup Attacks. And Wi-Fi Protected Setup, or WPS, was first designed in 2006 as an easy kind of push-button, quote-unquote, way to set up WPA security between a router and a host. In this, most cases, a laptop. So as I said, first introduced in 2006. However, in 2011, there was discovered a serious flaw that allowed that PIN to be compromised, right? Because there is a PIN number that is generated automatically between devices. So the router and the laptop or whatever device you're connecting to, as long as they both support WPS, they will negotiate that PIN. And that's where the crack or the vulnerability comes in. So that PIN has only 7 unknown digits. And because of that, there are roughly 10 million combinations that are possible. Penetration testing tools, as you know, they can brute force and just kind of work their way through one after the other. They can brute force that in usually 3 to 5 hours. So it may take 30 to 40 minutes. It just so happens if they come across that PIN number early on, or if it extends out, it may take upwards of 8 to 10 hours. But generally speaking, 3 to 5 hours, that penetration testing tool can crack that PIN. All right, so there are two that are relatively popular, and that is Reaver and Bully. And both of those are Linux distribution penetration testing tools typically. However, there are versions for Mac and for other operating systems as well. However, distributions like Kali Linux, like we mentioned before, that are specifically geared towards kind of white hat hacking or penetration testing or whatever you want to call it, those types of distributions have these tools built in automatically. So you can download them, or you can download a pen testing distribution of Linux that has it already built in. So as you can see here, once Bully is launched and it goes through it, it finds a Wi-Fi network that it has the WPS vulnerability. It will go through one by one and test each combination of pins until it comes across the correct one. And as we see here, it's gone for a couple of hours, and at the end it comes through and says, okay, here's the pin and here's the key. So as you can see, these types of tools can be a big issue on your network if you have routers on your network that utilize WPS. Now, they're only vulnerable for routers that were sold between 2006 and 2012. So most of the newer ones don't have this vulnerability. However, there are a lot of the older ones that are still in use. So this vulnerability is still out there. Now, from a security professional's perspective, if you have networks where people have brought these in either from home, or even if you've installed them or someone within your company has installed them on your networks, then that vulnerability could become an issue. So at the very least, you should audit your network to make sure that these types of devices are not on there. If they are, make sure WPS is disabled, and if at all possible, remove those devices and put in newer access points.